Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. You know, this will be information pertaining to my fanfic of Castle Crashers, where it takes place 500 years after the first installment, where they have capitalized on magic to the point that 13 kingdoms were created to keep them at status quo. The planet is divided into 3 continents, northern, middle, and southern. 4 kingdoms on top, 5 kingdoms in the middle, and 4 kingdoms on the bottom, from the North Pole to the center of the land, to the South Pole. Mankind has made planet Girth into a heaven of a place. They call it Girth because it's the greatest version of planet Earth ever. Get your mind out of the gutter. I done told y'all asses. With 13 kings that had a princess apiece, they were just piling on unnecessary backing energy of a cursed number. For 300 years, an entity called the Brotherhood has been tormenting all 13 kingdoms in hopes of overthrows to the decimation of entire thrones, just chipping away any way they possibly could for any occasion brought upon by any opportunity. There's this thing called the Spring Celebration. The entire planet is celebrating. Same decorations all over the kingdoms, but the Brotherhood plans on ruining it by destroying the Castle Crashers Museum. This calls all of the kings to come together and make a decision, one that revolves around the 13 most powerful elemental knights to get together for a world tour, titled The All Hoods Will Be Downed, the World Tour, with hopes of eradicating all strongholds of the Brotherhood. That's where this story and game will begin. Halfway through their world tour of choosing where to go from the Castle Crashers Museum, the Brotherhood strikes again by kidnapping all 13 princesses and taking them elsewhere to the unknown. The 13 knights have to choose which princesses to save first, and then whatever order after that, while taking down strongholds. During all of that kerfuffle, all other kinds of entities try to capitalize on the unfortunate circumstances. That brings forth more mayhem across the globe and dimensions as innocents all over the place are being pillaged because of opportunity. I bid all players good luck on figuring out the proper order to get the best ending of the game. Yeah, that's the synopsis of the story. Plain and simple, right? Right. In this version, all knights are unlocked at the beginning. They will climb levels like the previous title. Level 78 is when you can max out all ability points. Level 99 is when you'll max the character out. Players will be able to change their skin tone. Later in the game, players will unlock patterns for the knight armor. We'll have the collection of the previous playable characters as patterns and armor for each knight. After clearing the game with each knight, no unlocks will transfer over to other knights until they accomplish a playthrough. Along with skins comes facial expressions and other cosmetic expressions, such as glowing effects, after image, halo, devil wings, and smoke effects, etc., etc. Eye guards down or up, eye expressions, mouth expression, engravings on armor, engravings on shields are the major examples of changing appearances of the knights. There's one ultimate knight of each kingdom. There are 13 heroes in essence when it comes to this world. The 13 love each other because they all have the same morals, same sentiments. If it looks out of place, off with its head. It's the only play they have at keeping the 13 kingdoms safe. The kingdoms are as follows. Southern Continent, Nirvana Kingdom, ran by King Camaro and Princess Zumari. It's the Nation of Life. Corin Kingdom, ran by King Rango and Princess Renee. Nation of Explosion. Arctica Kingdom, ran by King Takuma and Princess Maharu. Nation of Fire. Lefebvre Kingdom, ran by King Angel and Princess Lennox. Nation of Astronomy. The Continent, Saints Landing Kingdom, ran by King Jackson and Princess Joanna. Nation of Water. Favorita Kingdom, ran by King Daman and Princess Days. Nation of Psychic. Truza Kingdom, ran by King Zunak and Princess Siogi. Nation of Afterlife. Rossetti Kingdom, ran by King Vajo and Princess Rosalia. Nation of Dreams. Manjo Kingdom, ran by King Wazoro and Princess Tinashe. Nation of Vegetation. Northern Continent. Pavilion Kingdom, ran by King Damien and Princess Ryan. Nation of Rainbows. Lakairum Kingdom, ran by King Nice and Princess Sevdaliza. Nation of Electricity. Roberto Kingdom, ran by King Ian and Princess Cherish. Nation of Ice. And Valkyria Kingdom, ran by King Giovanni and Princess Quintana. Nation of Death. The only princess out of the bunch that didn't get a name close to her stage name is Princess Maharu. She's a portrayal of Crystal K. Kumari D'Amato, Renee Rapp, Ari Lennox, Ryan Destiny, Jojo, Days Rodriguez, Priscilla Quintana, and Cherish Waters, or others. Everyone else retains their stage names as princesses. Also, these are just placeholders for the actual princesses of the game, because you know what the game gonna look like. Now that we can see the world map, let's get in the direction of stages. Stage 1 is the Castle Crashers Museum. It will be in Truza Kingdom, not within the castle walls, but is regarded as a safe haven. Won't be the day the story starts. The Brotherhood will kick everyone out in a way that a kingdom emergency will be called. The first stop of all the hoods will be downed. The world tour will open up the next stage. There will be a number of grasslands, forests, deserts, ruins, volcanoes, ships, ice terrains, and strongholds to go through. They will be numbered accordingly. There will be at least 3 versions of each of those stages. one for each continent. There will be a stage of each castle save and individual stages to rescue princesses. There will be a home for each kingdom. That's where characters will be able to go into the Ark and the Frog. The blacksmith will be revered as the captain of the caravan that is the 13 Knights. There will be various pop-up stores throughout the maps too. Those will have items available at just those spots. Once the game is cleared, the temple stages will emerge. They'll always be parallel to kingdoms because they are located underneath castles. The temple stages is where players go to unlock the elemental sword set. Last but not least, there's a new thing called Dimension X. It will be unlocked once the game is cleared on hard difficulty. It will have 17 stages that are more on the what the hell is this side of the game. 13 of the 17 stages will have the Excalibur sword set in them, one for each element. Clearing all stages of the game in Dimension X will unlock survival mode. Unlike the arena, this mode will allow players to climb a tower of 101 levels. It will appear as a tower that somehow, some way, magically has 101 floors. Floor base is where players set the standard of the survive. Floor base will also be considered underground. New Animal Orbs. Previously, there were 29 Animal Orbs. There will be 36 in my fanfic. Looking at the information on the screen, the new additions will be marked by a star, same as the first installment. All Animal Orbs will have locations across the world map. The strongest animals are closer to the end of the game. With the way I want this version set up, some of them could be acquired by going to stages out of order, then leaving with them. Either way it goes, there's an easy, normal, and hard version of each Animal Orb, meaning they get upgraded throughout the game. See the benefits major in the extra categories. They are self-explanatory. And because I love chaos, these Animal Orbs have my fanfic looking a little overpowered. The ones that attack more often but only once, meaning they attack the entirety of a mob when it's time to, but only hits every enemy once. Some of them are purposely used for unlocking purposes. There's going to be triple jump situations in Dimension X. Those items are only retrievable by using Sherbert. Then, additions like Griffiny, being able to stop a fuse of a bomb and put it back in your inventory if you use a bomb out of place. Then there are many animals with a critical hit boost. The troll regenerates more health as you find him on higher difficulty. Golden Whale drops way more gold. There's an animal for all 13 elements and all of their power matches your magic level. Yes sir, will stop all arrows from even ballistas. Some animals provide +9 in stat boost. Lastly, the Ark will be an easier place to navigate, and the ones you unlock on higher difficulties will take the place of the lower level animal, regardless of them looking the exact same. But because I love a good long video game, I'll have all 13 elemental animals in the temples on normal, and then Dimension X on hard. Now to move on to the weapons. Weapons will function the same as before, but more weapons will have attributes like elemental damage or critical optional, as well as the blacksmith having the option to permanently enhance all weapons of the game by making all of them powerful through forging, whether it's adding strength, defense, magic, or agility. But to make it worlds better, now the blacksmith can take down the required level of weapons, except for the legendary weapons created for Ultimate Elementalists. In the end, all weapons besides the legendary weapons can be up to strength +5, defense +5, magic +5, agility +5, element +5, HP +5, luck +5, and critical +5. There will be mats in the game for them. They will appear on screen and require just a walkthrough to pick them up. Accessing the mats materials list will be during pausing, world map, or at the blacksmith. Moving along, the elemental swords. These swords all look the same but are garbed in elemental magic. They all look like slivers of elemental magic in the form of katana-shaped swords. Same hilt and handle. This will be the player's first time handling ultimately blessed weapons. They come with level 5 elements of the 13 of the world. Psychic elemental slashes, confusion statuses into enemies. Rainbow will have enemies dropping lots of gold and jewels. Death will sometimes kill on one hit. Dreams will rains roundhouse kick enemies across the screen. Explosion will explode on enemies. Fire will burn them out. Ice will freeze them. Life will convert damage into HP. Afterlife will add double to triple hits to attacks. Electricity fries enemies for a while. Astronomy will sometimes kill on one hit too. Vegetation will trap enemies in vines, and water will slow down enemies. The elemental swords cannot be reforged by the blacksmith. They cannot receive any kind of upgrades. There will be no boosting of stats allowed while dunning them, but they make up for it by increasing status effects by 40% capacity. After clearing the game on easy difficulty, the map will unearth the 13 temples of elements. There is no fighting in the temples. There are puzzle stages. Each temple trial is different but will unlock the elemental sword within. They are capped at level 40 to match their percentage output. The level and cap of elements won't increase until the temple trial is ran on higher difficulties, inadvertently making them capped at level 50, upping them to level 8.5 elemental, 50%, then ending with level 60. And level 10 elemental output 60%. And then we have the elemental scepters. These swords will only be unlocked when the kings are unlocked, because the kings are revered as the guardians of each element They have the scepter of their lands as their weapon. The scepters themselves are weak, but the magic plus bonuses make up for it, especially if a player tends to be magic heavy. The kings are only unlocked during normal difficulty. They are only unlocked once each princess is saved. They can be unlocked on one night, meaning that one normal difficulty playthrough will unlock all kings and scepters. Scepters are capped at level 71. They are the only weapons in the game that adds points to HP, life plus 5, and have a permanent elemental output of level 13. 77%. Lastly, they are the only weapons with magic plus 10. All players will clearly have a ball of 13 unleashing magic in its most powerful form. And last but not least of the legendary weapons, the Excaliburs. There's an Excalibur version of each element. They are located in Dimension X, unlocked on hard difficulty. They are kept at level 90, with them being revered as the ultimate weapon no one knew of. They are more than impressive works of art, because they kill everything. Strength plus 5, defense plus 5, magic plus 5, agility plus 5, with elemental output at level 10, 60%. But the best thing about them is their greater critical boost is plus 5 too. For the survival mode I want in the game is only best tackled at level 99, equipped with an elemental animal and one of the Excaliburs. Any knight can hold any of them, so prepare to mix them with opposite Animal Orbs too. Now, I want to talk about the game mechanics. When it comes to magic, the list follows: magic, projectile, and aerial, splash magic, launch magic, beam magic, and elemental infusion. The images on the screen shows the name of each attack for each knight, same for king. In this version, each 5th tick will unlock a magical attack. Magic projectile and splash magic being unlocked first. The first tick unlocks status effect ranges. Second tick unlocks magic air projectile. Third tick unlocks launch magic. Fourth tick unlocks beam magic. And the 5th tick unlocks elemental fusion if not at level 50. When both are acquired, Elemental Infusion 2 is unlocked. Elemental Infusion 1 is the combo. Elemental Infusion 2 is garbing your knight in his element. That can stack on a weapon with a different element, and the duration of it lasts as long as your magic meter. The magic meter will be in a state of decreasing slow and not regenerating until the player has slashed the magic meter to depletion. Then it will regenerate to a normal status. For launch magic, it's like the magic attack where the knights knock up an enemy, then hits with a magic air projectile. In this version, the magic used is all around, and it will knock all enemies on ground up to where the knight is, for juggling purposes and crowd control purposes. For beam magic, this is like a continuous, straightforward, high-focused elemental attack. It goes completely forward, all the way across the screen, at the height of the character. It acts like splash magic, but with the range of the entire screen, and once activated, it will take the entire magic meter by descending slowly as long as it takes. Then there are magic of ultimacy, or ultimate magic, if you will. On easy difficulty, each knight can carry 3 ether potions. They'll be blue. On normal difficulty, 2, and on hard difficulty, 1. Ultimacy 1 is like Toro's level 1 kill of PlayStation Battle All-Stars. Ultimacy 2 is a multi-hitting cannon-like for a special magic attack, beam magic times 10. Ultimacy 3 is an all-screen multi-hitter with the option of 45% damage to bosses. The way this game will be set up around magical ultimacy, blue potions, ether potion are needed to be used. And yes, they can be stacked with sandwiches. They will 1.2 times the damage of ultimate attacks. There will be 2 blue potions on each stage. They can be obtained by finding them or a random enemy drop in blocks 2 and 3, meaning easy difficulty will be easier because magical ultimacy is more of an option, versus hard difficulty where it would be wise to always try to obtain them to use against bosses. The kicker is, when using ether potions, it will use all of them in your inventory and the entire party's inventory. Good luck. Now, all knights start out with 5 red potions and a bow. They will acquire bombs, 9 max, and these damage enemies this time. Blue potions, 3 max. Sandwiches, 9 max. Pink potions, 5 max, and they are for critical boosting. Boomerang damages this time. Boots, shovel, and the beach balls, 5 max, and can be used to force most enemies to attack it instead. In this version, bombs will destroy a lot more things around the stages, leaving room for more secrets to be unearthed. Sandwiches will have a long effect. Right now, I want to increase the time to a minute, but I'll say 25 seconds for now. Pink potions will create a red eye effect on the knights while it's in effect. They all last a minute's worth of time. If stacking them, a minute is added onto the timer. Beach balls will remain in effect until they leave the screen, and they have a bigger effect on most of the enemies. There will also be life gauges for lesser enemies. They will appear at the bottom of the screen under the player that's attacking them. Options will allow to be a bar or a counter, and that's reflected on the players and bosses gauges too. If you choose counter, numbers will appear when you hit enemies. If the counter is off, it's all life gauges. For magic's sake, explosion, X like the alien's primary magic projectile from the first installment, the one that launches them and sounds like a big plasma blaster. Fucking love it. Explosion as an element provokes a burn status effect. Dreams as an element provokes a sleeping status regardless of how much damage it makes. If it doesn't sleeps them, it does provoke a slow status effect like water. Water launches enemies like explosion, but only slows enemies down. Psychic, on the other hand, provokes confusion and or slow. When enemies are in confusion states, they will attack themselves. They may attack themselves a number of times before knocking the state of confusion away. Now to think of it, why didn't I make an earth element? Who knows? But I like the 13 I have chose. Now back to magic. Life converts all damage to a percentage of healing the entire party, not just the life wielder. Death has an addition of surviving final blows. The higher the Death Knight and Kings are, the longer they can stand with 1 HP. Besides, Death always has a percentage of instantly ending an enemy. When it comes to astronomy, it acts like Death, but without the survivability. Just the ending enemies and 1 usage rates. Afterlife is the only element that can provoke a status effect of blind. Enemies can go a significant amount of time without landing a blow, no matter if they use arrows or their own magic. Lastly, Rainbow tends to drop more gold and food for the entire party. And now I want to revisit the game speed. As stated earlier, there will be certain stages on each continent. Essentially, it'll be 8 regular stages, a king's castle save stage, rescuing princesses stages, and temple stages. The temples and the castles are the only ones considered elemental stages until getting to Dimension X's first 13 stages. The temple stages don't emerge until clearing easy difficulty. Dimension X doesn't emerge until clearing hard difficulty. Within the midst of the entire game, there will be instances where aliens come through, horseback scenarios, on river scenarios, ship scenarios, being skyward, and using triple jump to get to secret areas. All of the temples, including stage 17 of Dimension X, are puzzle stages. There won't be any fighting within the temple. Progressing through stages unlocks arenas. Beating the entire game on hard difficulty unlocks survival. Enemies will consist of a man-like individuals, to skeletons, to slime molds, to antlions, to bees, to wasps, to mantises, to sahagins, to imps, to bats, to scarabs, to snakes, to shadows, to dinosaurs, to toys, to golems, with a plethora of different kind of bosses. And because of who I am, there won't be any princes in this story. Alright? We got that? Good. Some of the bosses will appear to be mage light, like the first installment. They still princesses, but unlike the first installment, the giant magical gems will be at castles, and there will be attempted coups that will have them commanding giant magical gems at the castles as boss battle. For the castle save stages, when saving princesses, their beacons will be over old stages or new stages. If they appear over an old stage, a new path within the stage will emerge. Will stay there permanently once that portion of the game is unlocked. Majority of the princess saves will be within the Brotherhood strongholds, at least 2 for Northern and Southern, then 3 for the continent, with Dimension X not being a part of the progression of the story, more like bonus material. All of the stages will have individual bosses after 3 blocks of beheading enemies. When it comes to survival mode, the base level has all the options to set up the tower. In this sense, this is where the meat and potatoes of the Platinum Trophy trial would come from. Alright? Like single player climbing, multiplayer climbing, no ultimate magic playthrough options, a boss climb mode, a time challenge, and the most challenging survival option, roulette mode, where after every climb, there are roulettes each player have to hit. The list of random effects will be determined randomly while beating the tower, but you can use your imagination. It will be like Final Fantasy VII's Battle Square Roulette. There will be hits like nullifying a certain element. If a player is playing with the Ice Knight or King and hit no ice element, their magic would hit, but it wouldn't have ice damage or ice status effects. And if the game would filter that in to back-to-back roulettes, it would make the 100 level climb very difficult. Now, as a consumer or a creative, yay or nay to this fanfic? Time for me to disappear now. Keep it peaceful in the meantime. I'll be gearing to get back to drawing for the Crimson Collective. Have to finish Purge uniform designs for the many of them in the story in general, but I already know what I want the remainder of the cast to look like. All I have to do is draw. Toodles with your punk ass. Mwah.